Hey everybody, good evening. As you can see today, I am coming to you live from my bed. So I'm coming to you live from my bed with what comes up, comes out. It's your girl Aquinas, Precious Ava. Now, before we get started, you all know I like to take care of household rules or things first. So let's go ahead and get that subscription hit as well as notification so that we can make sure this continues to be an ongoing thing, okay? So today I want to talk to you about what's been going on in my life. We'll start with my shirt that says hope. All right, so some of you all are aware, those of you who are new, I'm happy to inform you. I joined Hope Church in Warner Robins. Yay! And I joined the Blue Team, which is for our VIP, very important persons. And basically that's for our first time guests. And Miss Candace, who's over us, has been very nice. And Miss Keisha, who kind of took me under her wings, has been showing me the ropes. Everybody's been very nice. And it's a lot of nice, interesting people. And I believe Hope Church is what heaven is going to look like. There are blacks, there are whites, there's some Hispanics. I've even seen some Indians there and Asian people. So it's really cool to just see a diverse group of people who believe the same thing and come into the knowledge of. I sound a little stuffy. Sorry, I suffer from sinus year round. And I went to my yearly ENT doctor. Hey, Dr. Carrera. He's very nice. He says everything looks fine. There isn't anything more he can do. How many of y'all have to take a series of pills? I feel like an old person. So I have to take Nasacort or Flonase. I take Allegra, and I also have salt saline to help because the pressure in my nose is unbelievable. But I also take Mucinex, right? That's 4 different things for one thing. So if y'all looking at my nails, don't they look amazing? Shout out to Anna at Studio Nails in Warner Robins. So yeah, that's just kind of what's been going on. Bishop Poole did a great job today, just kind of encouraging us. He came from Exodus. He's a very dynamic speaker. And what I took away from today's lesson was there is purpose in the process. Everybody's going through things. I'm still processing the fact that, my ex-husband we divorced and then he passed away, and dealing with the guilt that I felt and feel at times because he passed by himself. And one of my friends told me, she said, well, Precious, he could have passed while you were at work and he was at home. And that's true. But there is something to be said. If you think about the movie Aladdin, when Jafar was trying to find the perfect person to go into that cave, what the voice and that tiger-like image said was a diamond in the rough, right? And I know, how did I get that correlation? Just whenever we're going through the process of things, it's always rough. It's hard, but when you come out, we are super shiny. We're better. The more your affliction, the greater the prize. So anyway, if you're interested, please let me know. Comment below on, again, what you have to do if you suffer from sinus or when you do have to take allergy medicine. I'm happy to save a seat for you. We can enjoy church together. So I want to talk a little bit about my therapy session. I've started recording because I was writing for one session and then I felt like I was missing what she was saying. Like when you're in college taking notes and the professor's talking, you're trying to get everything out, but you miss what he said and how he got E=mc². So I was like, this is too much. Let me just record it and go back and listen. No, I have not gone back and listened to it. This weekend was busy. I was out yesterday till 4. I was supposed to go hang out with my cousin and I didn't. But apparently that's okay. My one sister, she did go, and today I had church. I overslept. Oh my gosh. Can we just talk about, I do not like being late. So there's this man who we're talking, right? There's no label, so there's no pressure. But he asked me, and he's not a black man. He is Hispanic. And he was like, so do you do CP time? I was like, no, sir, I don't. And anybody that knows me knows I believe in being on time or before time. But apparently my sisters and my cousins know that Precious, she's not going to come. That's not true. And I don't like that. It was hot outside. I don't like to be hot and uncomfortable. And the weekend is all that, but I want to do better. I don't want my cousins to think that I'm not going to show up for them. Which unfortunately seems to be what they think. And yesterday was one of those things. Anyway, when he said that to me, I was like, no, sir, I do not do CP time. This morning when I got up to go to the bathroom, I noticed that the sun was out, and I was like, my alarm should be set for 6:30 because I had to be at church at 8:30. Oh my gosh, it was like 7:17, 7:25. So I sent a message to Miss Candace. Hey, I was like, I think I'm gonna be a little late. So I just hurried, went to the bathroom, got in the shower. Thank God I made it at like 8:28. That's what the GPS said. And Brother Terrence was just getting everybody in for rally, so I made it. And I was like, oh, thank God. I don't like being late. I equate not just church, but I equate period. If I can go to work on time, I can be to my doctor's appointments on time. I can be to church on time. I can go to family functions on time. So that was interesting. Anyway, my therapist and I got together last week and we were talking, and she said some stuff. We talked about parentification. Ooh, I'm so sorry. I know I'm saying it wrong. It's not parentification. It's parentification. I'm saying it correctly. It's parentification. That's the word. And she was saying some stuff that I didn't like. And she said some stuff that I didn't like, but I was able to process it. But this time I crossed my arms and she said, talk to me, what's going on? You have your arms crossed. I said, because I don't like what you said and it's making me angry. How many of y'all have ever got angry about something and you were able to tell that person or that something, I'm angry with what you said? It was done in a very healthy way. What I have come to learn about me, excuse me, is when I have to figure out or talk about Aquinas, Precious, all the different versions of me, I'm very, like when we talk about Aquinas in my role at my job, I know what I'm doing. I'm a top performing leader and I'm comfortable with talking through those processes and how I help my team, peers, associates. But when we started talking about personal stuff, I get very uncomfortable. When did we get like that? Why? Anyway, so she asked me a question, which I thought was interesting. So that tells me that she's listening. And I didn't ask her why. Maybe I will, because I will see her this week too. I have weekly sessions now. She asked me, she said, do you think I'm too harsh when I'm asking you? I said, no, ma'am. Now, my sisters and some of my friends don't like what you say. But I told her, I said, no, ma'am, you don't know me. So I appreciate her perspective. If nothing else, she makes me think. And what she makes me think about is, could I really be perceived that way? Am I really thinking this? One of the things that my girlfriends always tell me, Aquinas, just because she's saying it doesn't make it right. That's true. Because then if everything she says I take as truth, then I won't be Aquinas. And so at the end of the day, that's who I am, authentically me. But I appreciate her making me think and giving me food for thought. Yes, it's always interesting. And what I've learned, my daddy used to say, Precious, you like the thrill of the chase. I don't know where I'm going to go with her, and I can't control what we do or don't do in that room. And so that's part of what's helped me in my conversation. Excuse me. Let me go ahead. Y'all know what it is. You know what time it is. Come on. It's Essentia. It's time for that Essentia break. Essentia. It refreshes you. Okay, so let's get back to what I was talking about. So this guy that I'm talking to, we have really good conversation. So I asked him what about me attracts him, and he said, because you have good conversation and you're beautiful. And I said, okay, thank you. But it made me think, because I don't ever recall being included. I think Judge Judy, if I recall it correctly, she said I was never, the pretty girl. I was the, okay, get right girl or whatever. So even though I know I'm not an ugly person, I was never put in that category of pretty, right? So when he says it, I'm like, okay, thanks. But it made me think, do pretty girls not know how to have conversations? Are they just literally a shell that's beautiful and just... So we were talking, and he was sharing with me how, if we end up dating each other and getting married, that he would not allow me to go through some of the same things that I've shared with him in my experience in my previous marriage. And he's been married before. And I was like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I said, but I would want to try to do what I can before asking for it. He was like, that's pride. And I was like, I don't disagree with you, but my logic is, did I do everything that I could before asking for help? And he gave an analogy of taking out the trash. He's like, you know the steps you have to take before you get to, he was like, and you know whether or not you need help with that. And I just thought it was very interesting. Obviously, he's not trashing. My ex-husband wasn't trashing. But the analogy is, if you need help, ask. And I said, okay. So maybe I was prideful in some of my marriage. Um he also gave me a different version of accepting or seeing how my love or Eric's love for me could have been dependent on the fact that I cared for him. And I thought, wow, that's interesting because, for me, I saw a skewed version of love. I grew up in a single parent home. And my mama didn't have a rotating door of men. We went to church and we went to school, and my mama worked. That's mostly what we did. But when he talked about how for him, with his ex, she was a sounding board for him. And when things did not go, obviously their divorce, the way they needed to, it was, hold on, wait. He would say she was my sounding board when I was, not feeling 100% or I needed some assurance. And he was like, she basically said, I'm drowning. And I recall saying that one time. Eric was diagnosed with ALS when we were dating, prior to us dating, and he was in a wheelchair when we got married. But while we were moving from the apartment, waiting to get the house, he just wanted to drink a whole bunch of juice. And I was like, you just had tea. You just had apple juice. I didn't know those were signs of being diabetic. And so we got married September 20th of 2020, and we were in the hospital. I'm lying. Eric's birthday is September 9th. We got married on September the 12th. We were in the hospital September 14th, and his sugar was 800, only for them to tell me he was diabetic. And so I was just like, wow, that's a lot happening at one time. We just got married. We just bought the house. He has ALS, the pandemic, and now he has diabetes. And I'm not telling you all this so you all can say, whoa, Aquinas, you did a lot. You're saying, I don't need that. That's not what this is about. It's to paint the picture of there was a lot happening. But what my guy friend was telling me is he loved you in a sense as a person who was dependent on you, that cared for him. And I thought, could that have been it? Some of you all sharing your comments, things that you have experienced. Did you love somebody, or did somebody love you because you were an enabler, because you were dependent on them, or was a codependent? Like, when I think about what he said, it made me think, or it's making me think about, how some people just don't need to be together. They're just bad for each other, but because he enables her to be the victim, or she enables him to do or vice versa, or whatever it is, that's what that sounded like to me. So could that have been? Maybe. I don't know. Eric's not here. And I think part of the grief for me is I didn't get a chance to talk to him about why or how come it didn't work, or what we could have done different. I don't know. It's very interesting, to say the least. And the part that I have come to understand is I am sad again, and I know it can happen anytime. I'm just sad that he was by himself. He was a nice looking man. He was a smart man. And even if we had been together, he was here in the house and I was out getting gas or groceries, I don't know if it would have changed or how it could change my perspective on the fact that he was by himself. And that's the part that nobody wants to die alone, and I'm not the first woman this has happened to, and I won't be the last, but I have come to the conclusion that's the part that I'm battling still. And that's the part that hurts. My grandmother passed, my mom and my aunt took care of her, and I'm sure she certainly appreciated it. And I didn't get married to get a divorce, but I still left. And I do feel guilt over that sometimes. But I also have to be honest and say I did not want that responsibility anymore. I did everything on that list in my mind's eye, that I did everything I could. And I just hate that he passed by himself. I really do. Anyway, I won't have, I may have more tears later. I don't have any more right now. But what I can say is, for me and my journey, it is getting better, and I don't get as emotional, realizing that yes, you divorced him, and yes, he's no longer here with you, but I nurtured him as best I could. And I am working very hard to be able to say, yes, I divorced him, and not feel the need to justify the why. What's something that you have done that you feel like you still got to justify the why behind? Share it with me in your comments. And why do we feel the need to justify? Is it for our moral compass? Is it for the world? Is it for your mama? I have a friend who was going through a similar situation. I had a husband, she has a child, and we had dinner about a month or so ago, and I can tell that she has grown because now she can say things about her child. What's the phrase that she used? Medically. I'm so sorry. I know she's going to watch this, and I'm sorry because I don't want to say the wrong thing. But she can speak about his diagnosis now and not be as emotional. And that's where I want to be. It's growth. And she still goes through things today because it's, he's not the same. But she can speak about it and not at least publicly cry or say, this is my life, and understand this is what did she say when I talked to her earlier? The cards we were dealt. What did I learn from being married to Eric? Patience is more than a word. I don't know how Job did it in the Bible. He lost all of his kids in one day. He had boils on his body. His wife told him to curse God. But at the end of that book, he was blessed double. So is that what's about to happen to me? I don't know. I don't think I'm mystical. I'm not ethereal and all of that. But it's a source of comfort that people can still go through things. My therapist said something that resonates with everything that you all hear me kind of jumbling and saying together. And for those of you who aren't able to follow, it's okay. In real life, I do jump around. She said, Aquinas, you seem to have a hard time understanding that just because we don't make the best decisions, or we do, she said, if you look at the Bible, those people did some horrible things. And the first man that came to mind was David. And I talked about, because she called me shrewd, I said, he slept with Uriah's wife. Then he told the leader of the army to put him where the battle was. I said, that was shrewd. She said, and that's my message to everybody today. She said, but God still used him, and he is the most talked about king today. So the realization for me, as I continue to go through this journey, is maybe I am a box of Cracker Jacks. But at some point, the prize is still going to be what I did or how I helped somebody. That was great. That was a crazy analogy to me. Even when you think about Jacob, he was a prank. Look at what he did to his brother Esau. So, even if in the eyes of others, you aren't doing what they want you to do, you are still somebody valuable, and your story has not been completed, and you can still do something everlasting. King David was still, and is still today, the most talked about. He still killed Goliath. He still didn't kill King Saul, and he had an opportunity to. He had men that followed. Even King Saul's son, Jonathan, loved him as his own. I think what it really comes down to is I don't feel worthy. I think that's really what it comes down to. Because what happens if I get sick? Who's going to be there for me? My mama is older, and I wouldn't want her to... That's not what I want my mama to do in her old age. It's just very... It makes you think. It really, really does. Well, that's all I got today, beautiful people. Listen, seasons change. Hopefully fall will come sooner than all this hot weather that's lingering. I know that kids are going back to school, so I hope that you all have gotten everything off that list at the Walmart or Amazon, or, you know, that the school has given you. I know some of y'all probably already are trying to have the kids go to sleep early so that it's not a problem, because it's literally this week, I understand. But enjoy them while they're young. I don't have any crumb snatchers. I'm just an auntie 4 times. But kids are certainly a blessing. I want to thank you for staying on or starting this journey with me. I will always be a positive Patty because I have breath in my body, and I can always, you know, change things if I don't like them. But I want to say thank you for hanging out with me today. I am okay. I'm going through the process, and that's okay. And I'm okay with that because I know I'm going to be better on the other side. And I hope that I'm able to be as strong as my friend who's able to say, this is my life now. Don't be so hard on yourself. Be kind. And in case nobody has told you today, you are enough. All right. Thank you so much again. Don't forget to subscribe and sign up for those notifications. You can also catch me on Instagram with my handle, Palm, just like the palm of your hand, 2018. Thanks. Ciao. Till next time, beautiful people.